Well, thank you everybody for coming to the third of the year Academy of Animated Arts Community Critique and Chill. Uh, Today we have two different pieces to give some critique on, and then afterwards we'll just kind of hang out and chat. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. And first up, we have Amber, who's also here with us. So, Amber, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you're going for with this piece, or if you have any particular areas you want us to focus on?
Yes, so I'm trying to figure out where I want to start really because it's bare minimum I've actually really done, but I want so the animation for the shot moves quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes from the front of the car where the headlight is to her moving behind the car and then jumping over the car and turning into Mystique, and it's a whole thing. But I wanted red and blue to be the main colors just because it's more cop car. Well, the cars I wanted it to be like a cop car and try to work with that. Also like a neon city light type of thing. But I feel like there's too many colors and I'm just not sure how to basically have the character lighting fit with the environment that she's currently in.
Mm.
So just I guess any feedback on that or how I can go about doing that. Also, like for the first part at least, I feel like I have a better grasp because the light direction is coming straight from the car light. But then also the background lights, I want the blue and red in there. So it's just like I'm not sure where to take that light direction from, but that was the biggest issue for me to like actually begin was like trying to figure it out. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, so it sounds like it's an incredibly dynamic shot. Does anyone have any thoughts right off the bat?
I think just to start, I would, and this is just a suggestion, but I would start with maybe lighting the set first and think about the character lights like later after you kind of have the look that you're going for in the set because on her I see all the nice colors and I think the colors combinations that you picked out are going to work well on her, but the set is very gray right now, and I feel like you could, yeah, you have some great references. So going for that in the set, I think would be a good start, especially since she moves around. If you don't want to really focus on a frame for character lighting, but I think once feedback photo also takes that into account, like it adds a lot of color to the background, and I think that's a good place to start.
Hmm. Anyone else?
Finding like practical light sources in the set, yeah. That's always, I feel like the first step is finding where lights could potentially come from.
I saw that the post
The
drawing that you did.
the paint over?
Yes, I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
saw
we can
that.
definitely jump into that. And hold on, feel free to talk about it too, if you feel comfortable. If not, we can kind of look at the before and after and talk about what's changed and whatnot.
Yeah, we can do that. I like that it's like focusing in on her. I really like that. Again, like the background lights, like I guess I need to add those in, but would adding too many background lights almost eliminate that like character focus point, like focal point? It's something that I kind of struggle with. So just
Hmm.
wondering if anyone has any like feedback or techniques on how to make sure that the background lights are still far away. And I guess depth of, I can add depth of field or something to that, but what other like,
Depth of field and like atmosphere will also help, but that's like kind of way later. I feel like you can start with kind of having an interesting structure because I think having a lot of lights in the set will give you a lot of visual interest. So as long as nothing gets blown out or very, very contrasty in the set, it won't, I don't think it'll take too much away from the character. And those, I think, is after you have like lights in places where it makes sense to have lights. And then once you have like a structure of like, oh, this is the brightest light and then this is some darker lights. And you can always balance those values out so that they play well together without taking attention away. So like, yeah, don't be afraid of like throwing these things in there, because you can always bring attention back to the character later.
Yeah, and I would suggest the reference you provided, all of it is like there's not like a character like a main character. Like there's some characters in here, but they're silhouetted and clearly um, like I would like this one as well. Like they're characters in here too, but they're not. None of them are the main characters in the piece. Whereas
Oh shit, Forrest, I'm not sharing your screen.
I'm not.
Are you? Am I not seeing it?
Oh no. Oh wait.
Sorry, I just realized because I was looking at her image just separately too.
How's that?
At least it's great.
Oh man. Sorry everybody. Um, so what I'm noticing is like all three of these reference images. There's no like main character and so I would suggest like finding something like like even like look at a cyberpunk cutscene. I know you pulled a reference from there, but also like look at Blade Runner or any kind of like neon um, steampunk or cyberpunk or sci-fi that like is using heavy neon lighting. Um, and I think Diana's very right about the lighting the scene first and like even like where's the one? This is a good example of like even though they're like these neon lights, there are definitely parts that are being lit, but aren't like super strong. Like if there was a character standing here, they would probably be hit by these warm street lights, and then maybe a little bit of the hits of these blue like this to me. This feels like a main source, and then these pools of light here feel like the another like main source of light. And so then you could play with if they're situated in here, you'd have like a blue rim light for most of the scene, and then you'd have like these like top down lights, like providing these different pools of lights that she jumps into during this action scene that gives it, it gives it pacing and dynamicism. Um, similar here, like there's not really something that's like soup. There's like a lot of specular hits from the neon lights, but like this car is not like being influenced by the super red or it's just these sides. So I mean, I would suggest pulling more reference that of like how you want your character to look in this sort of lighting would be very helpful when you get to that part of it. And then I think even here, like this is like this side by side that this paint over that Juan did, like this is like an example of an interesting pool of light where if your character kind of like leans into this, they could go from darker to then, coming into the source light. And another thing Juan did was darken the background, which draws your attention in on the character. And then this bit of blue rim light, being influenced by the neon sign, but then also like atmosphere will like help kind of show how strong that source is and this volumetric scattering and like make it feel like it would make sense that these both of these people would be covered in this blue and it'd be influencing things so greatly. And you'll notice, I mean, this in this photo, so much of it is in black because like it's at night and nothing is as nothing like the sky and all that is not as bright as these street lamps. And so we're getting like these super bright lights and then these super dark areas where the light's not hitting, which is kind of what is going on here in the paint over Juan did. Is he's now exposing for the primary sources in the scene, like this light over here and this headlight. So yeah, you'll have to play around with what exactly you want to be influencing the character and if it's going to be a really heavy neon scene, then yeah, I would definitely let your sky go darker, much darker than this, and your walls as well. if they're not being influenced.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Anyone else have thoughts, feedback? And I know you're still early on with
Yeah.
this, but yeah, watch. You're getting some high, like the bump map is pretty high in her hair right now.
Mhm.
So I'd look at dialing that back. But yeah, good start. And yeah, it sounds like you have a beast of an environment to light. So excited to see what's next.
Thank you.
Cool. All right. Well, then we will move on to T, which I know Amber, you actually already left some feedback for too, which is great. So I grabbed that so we can talk about it too. Yeah, so yeah, this is great. This is another reason reference is so important, is being able to analyze what light is doing in real world situations, and then apply it to CG. Does anyone else have any other thoughts for this piece? Yeah, I think. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Amber.
this no, these notes are great. I just wanted to say that. And yeah, like I think this reference has a great vibe, but I am wondering if like it's the best reference for the composition that T has, because that's very much like we want to be focused on the characters, whereas the reference is more of like general ambience. Like that's a good reference for the mood, but
Mm-hmm.
it definitely you don't feel like your eye is going to any one place in the reference. So
Yeah.
if like it's a good reference for how looking at what lights are doing, but ultimately I think it might be good to find a reference that is a little bit closer to the final shot that you have in mind. Just because I think with all that contrast, it I don't know if that's exactly what you want to replicate for this shot. I don't know, it could work, but it's just
I
my
think it's a great point. I think the main character in this is the bar. Like like these books feel so, like it feels so cool. It feels like we're in this like cool library. There are these antique bulbs up here that are drawing my eye, but no one's really drawing my eye except maybe this person, but just because they have a red hat. Um, it's not from like how the lighting is influencing the scene, or drawing my eye into them. So I think that's a great point. And there are definitely things you could definitely, from an environment side, use this as reference for sure. And then I would look like into doing some smoothing and whatnot. The models are looking like they aren't subdivided. Anyone else have any feedback?
yeah, is it just me or does the hair look more hair-like than I've seen this model be? I don't know, the girl's hair looks, especially in the first photo, it feels different, but I don't know.
There is some blah, blah. There is some nice specular. Um, it does feel. I mean, like maybe, and like it might not be coming through on the screen, but like I can see it's right now. It's very not subdivided, and like you can kind of tell that. But I think that the specular is looking nice, and it looks like almost like there's a little bit of translucency too. But then his hair is like super black, so I would, yeah, another next step would be like adding some more ambient light, like some general illumination into the scene, so that we're not getting like these really crunchy shadows. Like here you can see like we're losing just a lot of info on this plant. Anyone else? Any other thoughts? Cool. I don't think we added much on top of what Amber had already said, which was great feedback.
Yeah, yeah, it was. We have a last minute submission from Ruby.
Oh,
How
nice.
exciting! Yeah.
All right. Well, this is lovely. And is Ruby? Oh yeah, Ruby, are you here? Do you want to talk a little bit about it, or would you, prefer us to just jump right in?
You can jump right in.
Cool.
No. Yeah, this is like a personal project that I had, and I did it like before I joined the community, and I feel like I could like go back and make it a little bit prettier of what I had before with the lighting and everything that I like learned. So I rearranged the setting and to kind of give it more of a like a visual storytelling thing. Because before it was like, oh, I have these dolls and they're in shot and that's it. And now with the whole thing, I wanted to kind of create a story for like to say something. And so I rearranged them, and this is the new kind of setup and all. And I was going for kind of like the scene on the Toy Story 3, I think, with Buzz and Jessie. But I'm trying to get like the soft. Sorry, I did not put the references in this one, but I'm trying to go for the soft, like hitting on her face, and he's getting like the rim, but the whole scene is kind of dark, like bluish night. So I was trying to do that, and on the submission that I had yesterday, I had a question about the eyes, because I feel like they're going like they don't have that much like live. So they suggested to put those like white felts in there. I'm trying the idea. I don't know if I totally like it, because because I know that the dolls are not like that in real life, like they don't have that. But if it makes the story or the image reads better, like I'm open to like suggestions and everything like you guys can give me. And also like the shaping of the doll, it's like very kind of smooth, so it's kind of hard to get the nice shadowing that the reference have. So I don't know if you guys have any tips on that. There's another image for the reference. Let me see if I can put it in.
Yeah, if you post it in there, I'll pull it up.
Okay, thanks. And yeah, and that's my thing.
So this is the first time I'm seeing this one, and I love the colors and the textures coming through in the fabrics.
I like the eyes. I think are doing their job. Honestly, compared to the one without the dots on the eyes, it definitely like makes me look straight at their face.
Okay.
If you're not in love with it, I'm like wondering what it might look like if the eyes were like a button, like a real button shape with the holes and like string in the holes instead of just drawn on dots. Like that could be cool and look a little more realistic, while also having like a black circle with white dots.
Yeah, the other. Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
Yeah, and the other thing I was just gonna say is for the shaping on the like skin for our characters, maybe because the rest of them have like really nice textures. So I'm wondering if you added like a knit texture or like a fabric texture, because they are dolls, to the face. I'm wondering if it might help. But,
yeah, they do have texture right now, but since it's kind of like kind of low version, it looks really smooth. But yeah, they do. I might maybe bump it up a little bit more to see it better. But yeah, they all have like kind of fabric texture in there.
Yeah, I can see some detail, and I think it might even be enough, but if you want like a little bit more detail in shaping, because if you also like play with the shader so that it catches a little bit more specular on the screen left character when they're in shadow, you could add like a soft bluish fill that maybe even only has specular, and then it can catch a little bit more details on the face. Like that's something that could help. But honestly, like, yeah, it does serve the look well that it's so smooth because they're very cute. So I don't know if that would help really, but it's an idea. I would try it.
Hmm.
Okay.
I do want to say, like I just like holy smokes, what a change! Like what a like it's cool to see the growth, you know. Like
Yeah,
this was cool, but like really cool, and I love like there are a lot of the elements from that you've kept in the new version that are like great to see in this. That then like bringing into here, like it looks so good. Um, I agree with
thank you.
Diana, and I think another thing you can do is bring the background in a bit more. Like to me, with those stars in the background, it feels like moonlight is the primary source, and it'd be really cool to see some moonlight kind of streaking across in the background, just breaking up the ground texture, and even like maybe highlighting some of the different figures, because I know those are wooden and then painted, correct?
Yes.
So like I think getting some spec light in there on some of these and like really like bringing out some of those wooden attributes to the world behind them would be cool. Um, yeah, and if we go back to like I would look, maybe there's another Toy Story. I feel like when they're sneaking around the the preschool in the third movie at night, I feel like there's like really nice moonlight coming through. Um, and I would look into just getting some really nice shaping back here, and um, bringing in some more of those figurine elements without pulling our focus away from the story.
Right.
And then I'd look at, and I know you said that this is a low res image right now, but to me this the ground is looking particularly low res, so I might look into possibly like upping the resolution on at least that texture.
Okay.
Anyone else have any feedback?
I just wanted to say I really like the bounce that's coming off the object that he's standing on. Maybe we can introduce a little bit of that bounce to the bottom of the dress, but her fabric, it might not work with like the fabric that is, but I really enjoyed seeing that. So that looks great. I think you guys touched on was the like adding the color to the shadows, like the blue from the and stuff like that. But that was really all I had had in mind too.
Well, yeah, all great points.
Yeah, I think like playing with the colors of the lights a little bit might also be cool. In the reference, I think they have it's like a very purplish, deep, like is this like indigo? Can I call it that? Kind of blue with the like very lemon yellow on her. Although in this frame, it's a little bit more orange. And I feel like in your image, well, especially the sky is more toward greenish, and then yeah, and the shadows and the fill sides on them look more neutral than like super blue. So I think playing with the colors of the lights that you have, I think the lights are in the right place, but maybe playing with the colors a little bit might get that mood, because the Toy Story colors really come together to make a special kind of mood. I feel like you can reach it by playing with the colors a little bit.
Okay.
And these are
Yeah,
from the
thanks.
same scene, correct? These two.
Yeah, that's what I was like when I was looking at the movie and that short. It's like it flows really nicely, but then when like this is like the screen caps and it's like super bright, and then it goes to like really blue, and then when they're like the two of them together, you can't see this light in there. So I'm like, okay, what's
Yeah,
happening?
yeah. I don't know what
Yeah,
happens in this moment, but it does feel like it's a like one-off dramatic mood telling
yeah.
shot, and yeah, it, I think it all depends on the story you want to tell. Like I don't remember what this is, but like this does feel like a shot reverse shot, and it's um, his story, or we're supposed to like we're looking at what he's feeling from the thing he's just seen, and maybe you can play with that a little bit here too. Like so, if we take that example, right now this character, his arm is lit, his leg is lit. This is the main part I see of him. The flower maybe a little bit, but not as much as this. And then with her, she's got this really nice, very strong lighting, on her key side. Um, so there are ways to maybe like I really like her lighting, and I'm not saying you need to change his lighting. I'm saying that you could play around with what's being focused on with his lighting as well if you wanted to kind of help like bring this connection between him, like if he's like offering up this flower to her. Um, I'm wondering why she's turned away. Um, yeah, yeah, just like play around with how the light is telling the story. Right now, it feels like all her story, and that's it can totally be that. Um, like, is she ignoring it, or is unaware? Do you have answers to that question? Those questions?
So in the previous win, it kind of seemed like that, like 'cause she was in front, and then the guy was like in the back, and it was like I don't know. So the idea was like, oh, I don't know, like offering the flower type of thing, but they're not in the same place.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like maybe like she was thinking of him, and and Dan was like, I don't know, it's kind of weird. We're kind of thinking, I guess. But then I was going through the whole setup with Christus, and he said that it was kind of weird to keep him like in the dark to say he could look like a creepy doll. So I'm like, okay, yeah, that's totally true. So then I moved the characters, and then I actually turned her kind of facing and kind of leaning towards him now, and then but he said like to maybe kind of keep him in the shadows, like the face,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I got the rim on him,
Okay.
and to kind of accentuate that he's giving the flower to her, I did leave the flower in a little bit more brightness
Mm-hmm.
to the scene. But I still kept him like tiny bit in shadow, taking as reference the bus scene where he's not really like what did he say, like flattering. He doesn't have like a flattering lighting on him because the story's about her. So I was trying to get that in one shot.
Gotcha.
Like and I still, yeah.
Yeah, then I think my initial thought on that would be just taking her and flipping it so she's looking this way, and like completely in the opposite direction of this. Like he's like there trying to like give her this flower, and she's either completely ignoring or completely unaware. Um, that's one way you could do it. But also now knowing that, I think that you could definitely with this framing, like play that up a bit more. Anyone else? Any thoughts? Well, I think we've probably given you a whole bunch to think about. um,
Yeah. I was thinking about the rotating of the doll, but yeah, not
yeah.
sure.
At the end of the day,
Like,
it's your call. So
yeah.
you do
Cool.
what helps tell the story you want. So
Right. Thank you.
yeah, nice work. And again, like it's so great to see just like leaps and bound improvement. Like every time I look back at stuff I did 6 months ago, I'm just like, wow, I've changed so
Yeah.
much. So
Yeah.
it's always really cool to
Yes,
see.
excited.
Well, great work.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Well, I think that wraps up the critique portion and also the recorded portion. So again, thank you everybody who gave feedback and for who was just here hanging out with us. And thank you everybody who submitted. And yeah, we'll see you in 2 weeks' time.